What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we got to talk about Contraband. It seems like Xbox is pulling the plug. Now, there's a little bit of back and forth in terms of what actually is happening. Originally, it was reported by Jason Schreier, who's one of, if not the best one out there, right, in terms of insider stuff, that the game was canceled. And he did use the word. He said, like, Xbox is canceling Contraband. Then it was talked about in terms of report that the game was just on hold. And then on their own website, they posted, active development has now stopped while we evaluate the project's future. The studio also noted that we're thankful for the excitement we've seen from the community since we announced it, and we'll give an update on what's next as soon as we can. And that comes from GameFile. And they were the ones, by the way, to say originally that it was put on hold or, whatever that terminology is. So, I guess you can take your best pick for, is the game canceled for sure? But I mean, even what you post on your own website, if you've been working on this game for 5 years and the project's put on hold, obviously something is very, very wrong. Most likely it is canceled. And put on hold, you're going to pick it up in another year or two? Why would you even do something like that? And obviously, we're only a couple weeks removed, like Microsoft announcing all of those layoffs, Xbox having to do it, and, shutting down studios, even one of them, games, whatnot, right? So I imagine, and this is also, I've seen other people say this, I imagine this was part of that. I would find it almost even more alarming. Definitely more alarming, right? If you did all of, I laugh, it's not really funny, but it's kind of funny of just like how nuts it is. But it would be nuts if a couple weeks ago you did all those layoffs and then like 2-3 weeks later you did it again. And I imagine this was part of that, and they just like were trying to break it up maybe, because you already shut down a studio, you shut down Perfect Dark, and then to do this as well. This is not all that surprising. That's also kind of what I want to move into. Like, this is a studio that I think does have talent, obviously, Just Cause. And, they've been working on this, like I said, 5 years. That's a long, long time. I would like to believe in it, but my expectations up until, let's say, like a month ago, right, when they're doing these layoffs and stuff. So let's say half a year ago, or even like leading into the Xbox show back in June. My expectations really were to like never see it. Like I didn't really, if we saw it, fine. If we didn't, it kind of was just that project where we see it when we see it, and they would have to impress me by it, like just by sheer force, right? And by the way, sheer force means just showing it off and having like a really good game there, right? This is not a game I'm going to get excited for just on name alone or the developer alone. I'm going to need like visible proof that the game is really, really good in order to get excited. So it was definitely like, if I were to rank the upcoming Xbox games, it would probably almost be last. But that doesn't mean, I didn't want it to come out in the first place. Like, it's not a good look. It continues to not be a good look for Xbox. It's funny that whenever any of these things happen, the first question by everybody is, how's OD doing? And that literally was brought up. I think Schreier mentioned that as well today. Like, OD, Hideo Kojima, right? Still happening, still in works with Xbox. People are kind of doubting it, but from like the sources, they're saying it's just funny that like, you could have any game, any studio through Xbox be affected, and the first question immediately goes to Hideo Kojima. But and I can understand that, I guess, right? Like, they're clearly plucking out these more, whether they're like creative risks or they don't see like a potential future, or in a situation like this is not even theirs, right? So it's like the studio, I do hope that studio's okay, right? Because you're contracted. It's almost like makers who's making Tomb Raider right now, right? They were helping on Perfect Dark, and they're seemingly struggling, right? So it's like, okay, when you're not owned by Xbox and then they pull that part of your funding, though, right? Like, that's the main thing. Like, this was something that Xbox obviously was helping with quite a bit. So as a studio, when you sink 5 years into this thing and then Xbox decides to pull it, you've got nothing. You've got no startup on your own thing. There were rumors that like a Just Cause game was canceled years ago. So it's like most likely there's not a Just Cause game in the background to save them. They got nothing. They are starting from scratch. They got nobody to help them. Like, they have to find, either have to do their own thing or find somebody that wants something done for them, which they just did. And now that was pulled from them. So, I hope they're okay. And that's a big hit. I could honestly see them going either way. Like, this is a shutdown possibility because of how big scale, or large scale this is. So we'll see, what happens there. But just another disappointment. There's really not much more you can say from the negative perspective. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.